Welcome to Buugeng Basics 9. Today I will be talking about physical awareness. That has two parts, physical exertion and physical connection to the Buugeng. After talking about those two parts, I'll mention an extra tip that I'm concentrating on the longer that I keep spinning and practicing Buugeng. In terms of physical exertion or stress that I put on myself while spinning, you're always trying to keep your fingers as balanced as possible with each Buugeng. So, in the first motion, the finger motion, you can see in my first tutorial video that my fingers will always rest right in the center of the Buugeng. This allows you to use the least amount of energy to spin the Buugeng in that motion. However, it's no different when I do wrist movement number 1, because at every point in the motion, my fingers are concentrated at the center of the Buugeng. Even with wrist movement number 2, I'm still centered. At this point, I have the center of the Buugeng in the middle of my hand because I'm doing a rolling motion. However, at this point in the motion, here, I'm still wrapped around the very center of the Buugeng. So in terms of physical exertion, you're trying to put the least amount of energy possible into each motion that you do with Buugeng. The less energy you're using, chances are you have better control of what you are doing. In terms of physical connection to the Buugeng, the more and more that you spin, the more you have to understand and feel the rest of the Buugeng as it moves around your body or farther away from your body. So when I'm closer to my body, I'm thinking about both sides of the blade. This also taps into what I'm going to talk about later, looking at different sides of the Buugeng and feeling them as you start to spin more and more. But what you need to recognize in the beginning is that a lot of the motions you're going to do bring you close to your body. You can do a lot of motions out here, but at that point you're just thinking about how much you're exerting or putting energy into each motion that you're doing. It's not close to your body, so the physical connection isn't so much. But as you come closer to yourself, you have to think about each inch of the Buugeng and where it is. Of course, this becomes a lot harder when you're doing 2 Buugeng. But start with 1. With 2 Buugeng, there's a lot more to think about. Just start with 1 and feel the physical connection that you have to the Buugeng moving around your body, either farther away or close. This is something I'm still experimenting with a lot. So there are a lot of doors to be opened, even with just a single Buugeng. Another quick comment, as I said, the farther away you get from your body, the more important it becomes to think about your balance in the center of the Buugeng. But it is also important to think about your physical connection a little bit. It's important when you have to think about timing. So with timing, what I mean is how many times the blades are coming closer to your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thinking about how often the blade comes closer to my head, and when you combine that with 2 Buugeng, you start getting symmetrical motion. on both sides of the body. And you can lead yourself into tracing movements later on. But the next tip is what will help you think about more advanced movements with a bit more ease. So my last tip, just to keep things simple on this episode, is something that you will think about more and more as you put together how much physical exertion you use for each move and how much you connect with the Buugeng. As you spin more and more, at least for me, I end up thinking about both sides, both blades, and where they are. So in my more complex moves where I'm tracing, I have to not only think about the leading side of the Buugeng, but also the potential of the back side of the Buugeng. What I mean by the leading side is, again, as I explained in an earlier episode, wherever your thumb and pointer finger are. That would be my leading side. But sometimes the leading side becomes the back side. And the back side, where my pinky is, becomes the leading. That which allows me to do a lot of tracing motions. So when you can become more comfortable enough with the connection you have to the Buugeng and its shape, which is very convenient for moving around the body because it's rounded, the more you become to recognize the importance of both the front blade and the rear blade.